I've always believed that if you don't know where you're headed in life, someone else will decide for you. And for quite some time now, I've been challenging the notion that we simply have to dedicate our lives to one career, one job, one routine. But in order to break out of this cycle, we need to internalize why we're breaking it, and what exactly we're breaking it for. So I don't know if you've noticed, but I talk about life direction quite a lot on this channel. And even though I've got a medical career lined up in front of me, I'm choosing to be an amateur at a lot of things on top of it, all because of a rule I decided to follow just over a year ago. But instead of me simply telling you what that rule is and how I'm choosing to spend the next few years of my life, I want to make you see how I see when it comes to making these decisions. I think we all have a lot in common when it comes to what we want out of life. To do work we enjoy, get paid well for it, have time to spend with family, friends, and to do the things we love. But the problem is we're often told that it's impossible to have them all, that we have to pick and choose and leave some behind. So I asked myself a very simple question: what's important to me? And I decided to write it down so I could have everything out there in front of me. The more I could think of, the better. I then simplified that list and rearranged it until I was left with something that looked a little like this. First, I wanted to pursue work that felt like play to me. Work that I could continuously improve at, didn't take up all of my time, and at the same time was a respectable profession. Outside of work, I wanted to have the freedom to focus on the ever-evolving interests that I'm bound to have, time to travel, spend time with family and friends, you know, that sort of vibe. And I started to think, instead of trying all these different things that could tick off all of those boxes, can I narrow it down to the smallest number of items that could still tick off all of them? It wasn't until I read The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss that I realized it was possible to design your own lifestyle. It opened up a world of possibilities in my head and ultimately made me realize that I didn't simply have to be just a doctor. I could curate a more complete and meaningful life for myself. After a lot of thinking, I came down to 3 things that I wanted to focus on outside of being a doctor: writing, content creation, and teaching. Unexpectedly, writing came out as such an important factor for what I was looking for that I gave it its own category. I've actually made a whole separate video on that if you want to check it out, but for now, let me tell you why I chose content creation and teaching. To some people, the decision to make content online is an impulsive or superficial one. Even some of my closest friends assume that I chose to do it because I wanted to be the next Kardashian or something, and I don't blame them for thinking that. But the decision was actually a lot deeper than that. So here are the true reasons why I chose them. Creating content actually offers so many benefits. It's fun, gives you a creative outlet if you don't already have one, it allows you to meet new people, disrupt a boring routine, and even helps you to learn new skills in the process, like filmmaking and video editing. It also offers you the opportunity to earn money if done right, and it can be achieved in a series of short sprints rather than what most people would consider a marathon. For example, if you're running a company, you have to keep pushing every single day. It's like a marathon. But when I make these YouTube videos, it's sort of like high intensity interval training instead. It's like I work really hard on one specific project, then I take a break, then I start completely afresh on a new project. And if you happen to be anything like me, where you might obsess over something for a short amount of time and then kind of like move on, this might be a great outlet for you. The brilliance of something like content creation is that its results are often non-linear. As opposed to working a regular job which gradually pays more as you become more experienced, the results of creating things online can increase exponentially. Every piece of work compounds on the one before, creating a pattern of results that look more like this than this. Now, I chose teaching for a lot of other reasons. It helps me to learn quickly, keeps me on my toes, allows me to clarify my thoughts, communicate better, get personal with people, and genuinely help those who are willing to listen. You're also getting the benefits of earning a living if you're teaching something that a lot of people would pay money for. So in a way, you're funding your continuous education. As far back as I can remember, I've loved to teach. From showing a friend how to use an app or explaining something to someone who's genuinely interested in knowing the answer. It's like a positive feedback loop. You teach someone, they show appreciation, which makes you happy about it and willing to teach more, and the cycle repeats itself. And the best thing about content creation and teaching is that they overlap a ton. And the secret to why I chose these specific things was that they all connect with each other and feed off each other and effortlessly help each other to grow. But for you to truly understand what I'm talking about, I need you to see it. So I've made a spider diagram of some of the benefits I was seeking over the next 5 years. To start with, almost everything I do involves writing in some form, so we start there. If I learn to write better, I think better. If I think better, I speak better, which helps me network better, teach better, make better content, which in turn introduces me to new people who can help me to write better, sell better, etc, etc. And when you really analyze how these activities interact with each other, you stop seeing them as independent entities. You may have noticed that I didn't put earn more in the diagram because how can you achieve all of those things and possibly not earn more eventually in the process? So even if you're not quite sure what kind of work you want to do in the future, you can at least identify the skills you want to learn or the sort of benefits you want to gain from the work you choose to do. When I think about what I want to do for the next 5 years, there's not necessarily right answers, but there definitely are wrong answers. Like, for example, me ending up in a position where I don't have much free time, I don't get time to spend with my family or travel. Like, those are positions I don't want to be in. And you may not have it all figured out, and to be honest, neither do I, but I think you'll start feeling, honestly, a hell of a lot more content about the work you do if you start to think about it like this. There's a whole lot more I'd love to tell you about the behind the scenes of how I made these life decisions, but I think I want to save that for another video. Or if you're impatient, you might find some more clues in the articles that I've written over on my blog. If you didn't already know, I write original articles every week on self-development and meaningful living, and you can get them directly to your email by subscribing to my newsletter. I'd love to hear what you guys are focusing on for the next few years, so let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, thank you for watching, do what matters, and I'll see you next time.